Wait, this is interesting. I want to talk to you about this. So we hear things, right?
Yeah.
Like people DM, they send things. Do you ever worry? It's hard to know what's true sometimes and what's not. And sometimes, as I'm sure you feel, and I'm curious to hear your opinions on this, but like, do housewives must reach out to you too? And I think sometimes housewives will reach out to us and they want us to leak something or they want us to whatever. And it's hard to know what's true and what's not. And I just assume everything's a lie because I'm like, oh, they're just trying to get this out or whatever. But I want to know your thoughts on it.
I do have housewives that DM me, and I do have housewives from multiple, not, any show specifically, but reality stars in general that will bring information to me, or they'll try to use my podcast. Because my podcast, I'm pretty sure your podcast has been featured on like Bravo shows before. I know like some of the interviews, get played on the shows. I think we were even in the last season of Vanderpump with the fight between Ariana and Lala. So I think the cast members see that like No Filter makes headlines and pushes storylines. So sometimes certain cast members from certain shows will reach out and try to like utilize me or my show to kind of push certain narratives or whatever. So I'm always very cognizant of what I'm willing to believe, or even when they give me like inside tea about what's to come for the upcoming season, I'm always like, let me try to verify, like, let me pretend I'm a real journalist and not a podcast journalist. And let me try to verify some of these things before just, spewing it out there. Because for me, I call it low budget tea. And there's so much low budget tea on Twitter and so much low budget tea on Instagram. And all these people, like this Kathy Hilton assistant person that'll just come out with like the most outlandish, just like things that are not based in reality. And it's really because there's a personal objective behind it, right? So I always try to like verify things and be very frugal. Or when I do talk about it on the podcast, I'll be like, this is a rumor. Like, I hate blind items. I don't know if you,
Me too.
I
I know I
hate
do
blind
too.
items. And Demois
They've
is
gotten
like,
out of hand.
and Demois is like hemorrhoids in my asshole. Like, it's just like, it's all unverified. It's all speculation. It's all, and then everybody just wants to reveal all of these rumors. And then they just use the word alleged. And to me, I'm just like, that's the most like, it doesn't mean anything. And so-and-so's not going to care about you spreading some low budget rumor on Twitter. You don't need to say alleged. Like, it's so silly to me.
And the Bravo stuff has oftentimes, as you'll hear things, then you'll see something on Twitter, something that somebody says happens in the new season. And it's like, that's not at all what happens. And sometimes people will believe anything or they put out these crazy blind items that you're like, oh, I can't believe everyone's sharing this or believing this or whatever.
I hate when I wake up to a flood of DMs and it's like, did you see this story? And I'm like, oh my God, why are we believing any of this? Like, I hate blind items.
Yeah, they'll be crazy. Like Cindy Barship is coming back to the Real Houses of New York, and she's going to be the star of the show. And you're reading it, and you're like, "This is so not true."
So not true.
It's like crazy. But yeah, it's fascinating, and I'm always interested to talk to other podcasters and stuff with their experience because it does happen a lot. And my show, I'm just trying to make people laugh and stuff. So I feel like I'm not really even, although I interview people sometimes, it's like I'm mostly just trying to make people laugh, but still sometimes people will come to me with information and want me to, it's like very clear they want me to share it or kind of, or maybe they're sharing it with like a bunch of us, I'm sure sometimes the housewives will reach out to a bunch of us and like say, oh, well, this happens this season. And it's like, I know they want us to get it out there.
Right. And so, yeah. And a lot of the times I don't, and very, if I can verify something and I think it's a juicy enough piece, because I also don't want to like kill storylines either, because I feel like then that ruins the show for just the audience members. And it's so much different when you're recapping or you're analyzing or reviewing these shows, because then your lens is not just an average viewer enjoying the show anymore,
Right. Because you'll be thinking, oh, well, this happens later down the road or this, yeah.
But it's the housewives world that we're in, that we love and love to hate, and love to love.